Hi, I'd like to welcome you to Computer and Information Technology Concepts. In this video, I want to take a moment and introduce myself, as well as go over some aspects about the syllabus that I need to make sure you're aware of. So let's start with who I am. My name is Michael Waits. I am the instructor for your semester, and I am an IT professional. In fact, I've been in the IT world for almost 30 years. My current job during the day is that I am a development manager. I lead a team of developers for a local St. Petersburg company. And I have been many things in the IT world, including a programmer, a web designer, a graphic artist, and I even had some experiences as a hardware tech, which is pretty normal when you're in the IT world. You tend to move around a little bit as you go forward. Some people really hone in on what they want to be in and go from there, but most people spend a little bit of time here and there and gradually get to where they want to be. So, again, as an IT professional, one of the things that SPC is, one of the things that they really like to do is make sure that real professionals in the industry are in here teaching you, so that way you can actually ask questions, you can hear from real world scenarios, real world professionals. So with that, let's go over the syllabus a little bit, just a couple concepts. Again, I've got my syllabus here, and I would recommend to you to print it out and make sure you keep a copy for yourself. Sometimes having a syllabus down the road is handy if you need to prove what you may have learned in a particular class. So always keep all of your syllabus. That's a piece of advice I'd give you from someone that's been in school for a very long time myself. That's another little bit about me. I am actually still in school. I'm working on my second master's. I'm getting my MBA from the University of South Florida. But I did start just like you here at the St. Petersburg College. In fact, my bachelor's is from St. Petersburg College. I then went on to get my master's in IT from the University of South Florida. All right, so onto the syllabus. A couple of things to get out of the way real quick is let's talk a little bit about the course description. I'm going to summarize what it says in the syllabus and basically say this is a class that is going to give you a little bit of an insight to multiple pieces in the IT world. In fact, I think we cover 7 or 8 different disciplines. And so it's a great class to see what's in the IT world and get a little bit of a sample of what's in the IT world. In fact, by the end of this course, you'll have even done a little bit of programming, which again is my world. So we're going to see a little bit of everything as we move on, and it's going to be a great class. Now, one of the things I want to make sure I get out there is that this class does use third-party instruction pieces, and with that, you have to have the required textbook. One of the things you'll need to note is that part of buying this book is that you get a license to the MindTap registration. And so you have to buy your book, which has the license, through SBC bookstore or through the MindTap registration. If you buy it from Amazon, more than likely it's not going to be valid, and more than likely it's not going to work, and you're going to find that you're out of some money and you need to buy a license elsewhere. So again, I really do recommend that you make sure you get through the bookstore or through the MindTap registration. If you are in need of learner support, make sure you read that in the syllabus, and make sure to let me know as you need those services so I can be of assistance. Attendance. This is a big one, and this tends to jam some people up, so I like to cover it, especially for online courses. For the online courses, they still have the same requirements as our face-to-face courses, which essentially says that I need to see attendance in the first 2 weeks, and about 60% of the way through the class, I need to be able to say that you are actively participating in the class. So the syllabus kind of outlines what that means, And I'll briefly tell you is the first 2 weeks, there's some assignments that need to be accomplished to show that you are active in the class and participating. And then at the 70%, it's more of a, I'm going to look at the work that you have, and if you are showing that you are progressing and that you have the right amount of work done for that period of the class, then I'll have you as being active in participation. If not, as we're getting closer to that mark, I'll start sending you messages like, hey, I'm concerned about your participation. So kind of keep that in mind. It is a requirement here at SPC, and so I do follow that. I'm not going to go really over the grading. It's pretty straightforward, so make sure you look at that in your syllabus. So let's talk a little bit about your student expectations as well as your instructor expectations, right? The things that I'd like to point out is, as a student, it's not okay to use other people's work. Everyone that has gone through school, including me, we have a responsibility to create our own work, our own ideas, and present those. So it's really important, even in the IT world, that you aren't plagiarizing other people's work. If you need to use something from somebody else, make sure you cite them. Make sure you give them credit, and make sure that even when working with your team members in the class, that you're still presenting your original ideas and your concepts. All right. I am also really big on when you're communicating in the class. This is a college course, and so therefore we need to speak professionally. We need to have good grammar and all those things. So while I'm not going to necessarily be crazy about it, I am definitely going to be mindful of it. So kind of keep that in mind that, you know, as a college student and as a college professor, we definitely expect to see good grammar. All right. The other things that we also just don't tolerate is, you know, we don't tolerate negativity. We don't tolerate hate speech. We don't tolerate racism, sexism. Again, make sure you read the syllabus to understand exactly all the conversation types we don't appreciate and will say something about. One of the big pieces that I like to inform students, and again, this is something that has grown over time because of the need and unfortunately the abuse of the system, but I do not accept late work. There's only really two ways that I will accept late work. One is you talk to me about it in advance, not after the assignment's due. In advance, talk to me. If things are going on, you've got a business trip that you have to do, definitely talk to me about it. I don't always approve late work, but if you're upfront with me and talk to me ahead of time, more often than not, I'm good about understanding where you're at and accepting late work. I will not accept late work after the fact unless it's a documented emergency. So if you find yourself in the hospital and something was due, again, you've now have a way to document your emergency, and by all means, make sure I get a hold of that and we will adjust your due dates accordingly. Again, the more notice you can give me, the better off we are, but it's just not fair for me to accept late work from students. And the reason being is all the other students really worked hard to get their work in on time. It's fair that that everyone is held to the same standard. So again, I kind of really go through that. There's only two real reasons why I will accept late work. Make sure you read the syllabus. It goes in a little bit more detail about it. And then if you have any questions, make sure you shoot me a message. That's a great spot for me to discuss how to get a hold of me. I do have a phone number, and I actually have an office at SBC, and I tend to not use either of those, right? If you need to get a hold of me, email is the very best way. It's the quickest way. The phone number that I have is a soft phone, and so it's one of those things I don't often check. I try to check it, but I just don't check it as often as I do email. Emails come right to my phone. I get those. I'm quick about them. In fact, one of my expectations as an instructor is that I will respond to you within 24 hours. Obviously, that within reason to that as well. I too have a life, and so I like to Jeep. And sometimes I'm not jeeping, and on the weekend I may not get back to you until Monday. So try to do your best to communicate to me via email. If you need to come in and we need to get together to go over some stuff, I will create a space for us to do that, and we can get together for any kind of extra help that you may need. So again, just communicate with me via email or the messaging system, and we can work things out. All right. This class, we on occasion use Turnitin, and that's to make sure, again, people aren't plagiarizing. But I do want to let everyone know, just because an assignment's not turned in through Turnitin does not mean on occasion it may be checked for plagiarism. Believe it or not, the IT community is a small community. It feels like it's a big community, but oftentimes you'd be surprised when I'm reading something in the IT world and I go, oh, I feel like I've read that somewhere, and sure enough I have. So again, please, just we're here to have a great class, and we don't need to cheat. At the end, I will of the semester, I will remind everyone about the student survey of instruction. This is a really important piece for me. I know a lot of professors will tell you that it's an important piece. I am too going to tell you it's an important piece. In fact, I would encourage you to make sure you do the SSI, and the reason being is I can't get better at what I do unless I get feedback from you. So they are anonymous, and they have the ability to give us some great feedback on how we can make this class better. I've heard students really complain about a class, and then when I ask them if they filled out the SSI, they say no, that they didn't feel like it was worthwhile, and it took too much time. And then I said, well, you can't expect that a class is going to get better unless there's some feedback. So again, I'm pretty big on this, and I will probably give a few more speeches about the SSI throughout the class. So towards the end, if you could just do me a favor, take a moment. It takes about 5 minutes, and do the SSI. That'd be great. I'm looking at the syllabus, make sure I get all my notes as well. All right. And finally, I think the next most important thing to understand about this class is it's an online class, so we don't have face-to-face time. That means you're going to have to make sure you dedicate some time that you would normally, not only in class, but when you're doing your homework. You need to find time on your own, be self-motivated to make sure you're spending the appropriate amount of time working on this class. We definitely recommend anywhere between 9 and 12 hours per week for this class. If you find yourself not being able to give that level of effort, you may find very quickly that you're starting to suffer in class. So again, make sure that you find time for this class. Make sure you set aside you time, so that way you can make yourself a priority, and you can make sure that you are doing what's needed in this class. I look forward to this semester. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I'm looking forward to reading everything that people give me, and I look forward to seeing you online in class. Have a great semester.